The observation deck of the research station Meridian's Eye offered an unobstructed view of the nebula designated NGC 7293, its swirling clouds of cosmic dust painted in shades of purple and gold. Dr. Maya Reeves stood at the viewport, coffee growing cold in her hands, watching the slow dance of stellar matter that had mesmerized humanity since they'd first pointed telescopes at the heavens. She wasn't alone. In the corner of the deck, partially obscured by shadow, stood the figure that had become as much a fixture of the station as the humming life support systems. The crew called him the Silent One, though never to his face. If he even had a face beneath that environmental suit he never removed. His name, according to the diplomatic files, was Thorn. He was Arxian, a species humanity had encountered only 3 years prior during the first deep space expeditions beyond the Kuiper Belt. The Arxians were technological marvels, their civilization spanning millennia when humans were still painting on cave walls. They'd agreed to host human researchers on joint scientific stations as a gesture of goodwill, though what they gained from the arrangement remained mysterious. Thorn had been assigned to Meridian's Eye 18 months ago. In all that time, he'd never spoken a single word, not to the station commander, not to the other Arxian researchers. Not even when directly addressed in his own language by the linguistics team who'd spent weeks preparing for his arrival. He simply moved through the station like a ghost, performing his duties with mechanical precision, observing everything with those luminous orange eyes that were the only part of him visible through his suit's darkened visor. Maya had grown accustomed to his presence. Where others found him unsettling, she'd come to appreciate the companionship of someone who didn't feel the need to fill silence with meaningless chatter. She was often awake during the station's night cycle, unable to sleep, drawn to the observation deck to watch the nebula's slow transformation. And he was always there, a silent sentinel keeping his own vigil. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she said softly, not expecting a response. She never did. "I've been studying stellar formation for 15 years, and it never gets old. There's something about watching the birth of stars. It makes you realize how temporary everything is, how precious." Silence. She sipped her coffee and continued, as had become her habit over the past 6 months. "My daughter would have loved this view. Elena, she was 12 when—" Maya's voice caught the way it always did. "She always wanted to be an astronaut. Used to make me tell her stories about the nebulas and galaxies, about alien worlds and the mysteries waiting out here. I guess that's why I'm here. Feels like I'm seeing it for her, you know, experiencing the dream she never got to live." She wiped her eyes quickly, embarrassed by the sudden emotion. "Sorry, I'm sure you didn't come here to listen to a maudlin human ramble about her dead child. Sometimes the silence up here gets heavy. Sometimes I need to hear a voice, even if it's just my own." Maya turned back to the viewport, watching the nebula's ethereal glow. Behind her, she heard the soft sound of movement, Thorn's environmental suit shifting as he adjusted his position. She'd learned to read meaning in those small sounds over the months. This one, she'd come to believe, meant he was listening. The weeks that followed brought the first signs of trouble. The nebula's readings were changing in unexpected ways. The stellar formation process that should have been predictable, that had been mapped and modeled by the best astrophysicists in 3 species, was accelerating. New protostars were igniting faster than projected, and the radiation levels were climbing to dangerous thresholds. "We need to evacuate," Commander Petrov announced at the emergency briefing. "The shielding on this station was designed for the nebula's standard radiation output. What we're seeing now. We have maybe 3 weeks before this place becomes uninhabitable, maybe less." "What about the research?" Maya asked, already knowing the answer. "We're in the middle of the most significant stellar observation event in a generation. If we leave now, we lose all of it." "Better than losing our lives," Petrov replied grimly. "I've already sent word to the evacuation fleet. They'll be here in 2 weeks to pull us out." Maya glanced across the briefing room to where Thorn stood apart from the others, as always. His orange eyes were fixed on the holographic display showing the nebula's expanding radiation field. For just a moment, she thought she saw something in his posture, tension, perhaps, or concern. But it was hard to read emotion in someone who never spoke, never removed their suit, never offered the slightest insight into their thoughts. After the briefing, she found herself once again on the observation deck. The nebula looked different now, more vibrant but also more dangerous, like a beautiful flower hiding poisonous thorns. "It's ironic, isn't it?" she said to the darkness, knowing Thorn would be there. He always was. "We spend our whole lives reaching for the stars, and when we finally touch them, they burn us." For a long moment, there was only the ambient hum of the station. Then she heard it, a sound she'd never heard before in all the months they'd shared this space. Footsteps, deliberate, moving closer. Thorn emerged from the shadows, and for the first time he stood directly beside her at the viewport rather than maintaining his usual distance. He was tall, easily 7 feet, his environmental suit a matte black that seemed to absorb the nebula's light. Up close, she could see more details in those orange eyes through the visor, intelligence, depth, and something that looked almost like pain. "You understand loss," came a voice. Maya nearly dropped her coffee. The voice was mechanical, filtered through his suit's translation system, but there was emotion in it, carefully controlled but unmistakably present. You spoke," she whispered. "I have always listened," Thorn replied. "For 18 months I have stood in silence, observing your species, trying to understand what makes humans so reckless, so willing to reach for things that will destroy them." "Why now?" Maya asked. "Why break your silence now?" Thorn was quiet for a long moment, those orange eyes fixed on the nebula. "Because I have learned that silence, while safe, is also a form of cowardice, and because you deserve to know the truth about what is happening out there." Maya's scientific instincts kicked in. "You know why the nebula is behaving this way?" "I do." Thorn's voice carried weight, like each word cost him something. "The nebula is not accelerating naturally. My people are causing this." "What? Why?" "The Arxian civilization is dying," Thorn said quietly. "We have lived for millennia, achieved wonders your species cannot yet imagine, but we have stagnated. Our birth rates have fallen to nothing. We create no new art, no new music, no new ideas. We are a civilization of caretakers, maintaining the achievements of our ancestors while producing nothing of our own. We are already dead. We simply haven't finished dying yet." Maya stared at him, struggling to process this revelation. "What does that have to do with the nebula?" "Stellar matter from events like this can be harvested, converted into a form of energy that extends biological life indefinitely. My people decided long ago that if we cannot create new life, we will preserve the old life we have, no matter the cost. There are thousands of stations throughout the galaxy. each one positioned near a stellar formation event, each one accelerating the process to harvest what we need. But the radiation, Maya said, horror dawning. The acceleration, you're turning these nebulas into weapons. Any species trying to study them, any worlds in the vicinity, will die, Thorne finished. Yes, my people have become parasites, feeding on the galaxy's wonders while destroying anyone who might witness them. We have grown so afraid of our own extinction that we're willing to cause countless others. Why are you telling me this? Maya asked. If your people find out you've revealed this, they will execute me, Thorne said simply. Arxian law is clear on this matter. Silence is survival. To speak of our secrets to outsiders is to commit treason against our entire species. Maya's mind reeled. Then why risk everything? Thorne turned to face her fully. Because of you, Dr. Reeves, because for 6 months I have listened to you speak to the darkness about your daughter, about your grief, about why you came to the stars. I have watched you carry pain that would have crushed many beings, yet you still find beauty in the nebula. You still speak with hope about humanity's future. You still believe that reaching for the stars is worth the risk, even knowing they might burn you. He paused, and something in his posture softened. My people stopped speaking because we stopped believing we had anything worth saying. We forgot what it means to feel, to hope, to grieve, to love something so much that its loss breaks you, yet you continue anyway. We chose eternal preservation over finite beauty, and in doing so we became the silence, empty, cold, meaningless. You said your daughter wanted to see the stars, Thorne continued. She never got that chance, yet her dream lives on through you. That is what my people have lost, the understanding that life's meaning comes not from its duration, but from what we do with the time we have. That creating something beautiful, even if it's temporary, is worth more than preserving something hollow forever. Tears streamed down Maya's face. What can we do if your people are accelerating stellar events across the galaxy? I have already done it, Thorne said. Before I came to speak with you, I transmitted all classified Arxian files on our stellar harvesting operations to the Galactic Council. Every location, every method, every crime we've committed. By the time my people realize what I've done, it will be too late to contain the information. They'll kill you for this, Maya whispered. Yes. There was acceptance in his voice. But I have decided that some silences must be broken, no matter the cost. My people have been silent too long, and that silence has allowed us to commit atrocities we would never have accepted if we'd had to speak them aloud. If my death is the price for ending that silence, for forcing my species to finally face what we've become, then it is a price worth paying. Maya reached out, her hand hovering near his suited arm. Come with us. When the evacuation fleet arrives, come back to Earth. We'll protect you, give you asylum. I cannot, Thorne interrupted gently. I must face my people, must stand trial for what I've done. If I flee, I become a traitor who ran rather than a citizen who spoke. The difference matters. My people need to see one of their own choosing truth over survival, choosing to break the silence even knowing the consequences. Perhaps it will remind them of what we once were before fear made us mute. Over the next 2 weeks, chaos erupted across the galactic community as Thorne's revelations spread. The Arxian government denied everything at first, then scrambled to contain the damage, then finally fell into disarray as internal factions began fighting over whether to continue the harvesting or face the galaxy's judgment. The nebula's acceleration slowed, as the hidden Arxian equipment was shut down by emergency interventions from the Galactic Council. The research station was saved, though it would still need to be evacuated temporarily for safety inspections. Through it all, Thorn remained on Meridian's Eye, awaiting the Arxian security forces he knew would come. He spent his remaining time on the observation deck, and Maya spent it with him. "Why did you never speak before?" she asked one night as they watched the nebula together for what might be the last time. "In all those months, was there never anything you wanted to say?" "Everything," Thorn admitted. "I wanted to say everything. Every time you spoke about your daughter, I wanted to tell you about the child I once had before our people stopped reproducing. Every time you found wonder in the stars, I wanted to tell you how we'd forgotten how to feel that wonder. Every time you grieved, I wanted to tell you that grief is a gift, that the ability to feel loss so deeply means you loved deeply, and that is the most valuable thing any being can do." "Why didn't you?" Maya asked softly. "Because I was afraid," Thorn said. "Because my people taught me that silence is safety, that revealing yourself to others only leads to pain. Because I had spent so long not speaking that I'd forgotten what my own voice sounded like, forgotten that I had anything worth saying." He turned to her, those orange eyes luminous in the nebula's glow. "But you reminded me. Your courage in the face of loss, your refusal to let silence consume you, your determination to keep speaking even when no one answered. You showed me that silence isn't safety. It's surrender. And I decided that I would rather speak and face death than remain silent and face nothing at all." The Arxian security ship arrived 3 days before the evacuation fleet. They came for Thorn at dawn, their faces hidden behind masks similar to his environmental suit, their movements efficient and cold. The entire crew of Meridian's Eye gathered in the docking bay to watch him leave. He paused at the airlock, turning back to look at them, at these humans who'd lived beside him for months without hearing his voice until it finally mattered. His eyes found Maya's in the crowd. "Thank you," his translated voice echoed through the bay. "Thank you for teaching me that some words are worth dying for, and that the greatest tragedy is not death, but living an entire life without ever speaking the truth." Then he was gone, escorted onto the Arxian ship by silent guards. Maya never saw him again, but 3 months later she received a message through secure Galactic Council channels. It was audio only, Thorn's translated voice emerging from her terminal in her office on Earth. "Dr. Reeves, I hope this message finds you well. I write to you from my holding cell awaiting trial. My people are divided. Some call me a traitor, others call me a catalyst for change. I do not know which history will judge me to be, but I find I no longer care. I spoke the truth. That is enough. I wanted you to know that because of what I revealed, the Galactic Council has shut down all Arxian harvesting operations. The nebulas will form naturally now, and the civilizations trying to study them will be safe. The price of this was steep. My people face economic collapse, social upheaval, and a reckoning with what we have become. But perhaps from that collapse, something new can grow. Perhaps we will remember how to speak again, how to feel again, how to live rather than merely preserve. I also wanted you to know that you were right about the nebula. I have seen the final analysis, and the stellar formation you were documenting will produce a binary star system of extraordinary beauty. It will shine for billions of years, long after both our species have returned to dust. Your daughter would have loved to see it. You asked me once why I broke my silence. The complete truth is this. I spent 18 months listening to you speak to someone who couldn't hear you anymore, pouring your grief and hope and love into the void because speaking was better than silence. And I realized that I had been silent for so long that I had become the void, empty, cold, absorbing everything and reflecting nothing back. You changed that. You reminded me that voices matter, that speaking matters, that even if our words fade into cosmic dust, the act of saying them has value. You gave me back my voice by never letting yours be silenced. For that gift, I face my death with gratitude rather than fear. If I am to be the last word my species speaks before we learn to speak again, then let it be said that I learned how to find my voice from a human who refused to lose hers. Thank you, Maya Reeves. Thank you for teaching an alien who had forgotten how to speak that some silences must be broken, no matter the cost. Tell the stars our story. Tell them that once in the darkness between worlds, two beings shared the silence until one of them found the courage to end it. The message ended. Maya sat in the quiet of her office for a long time, tears streaming down her face. Then she did the only thing that felt right. She opened a new research proposal, titled it The Binary Formation of NGC 7293, a testament to broken silences, and began to write. She would tell their story. She would tell the galaxy about the Arxian who learned to speak and the human who taught him that even the briefest words can echo across eternity. Because some silences, once broken, change everything. And some voices, once found, can never truly be silenced again.